In the world of coin collecting, few things stir the imagination quite like the thought of an ordinary coin turning out to be a hidden treasure. Among the countless pennies that have passed through hands, pockets, purses, and cash registers over the last century, some carry with them stories that elevate them from simple change into pieces of American history. Today we dive deep into one such coin, the 1939 no-mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny. At first glance, it might appear like any other old copper coin, darkened with age and worn from circulation, but as we explore its history, its design, its role in the economy, and its rarity among collectors, you'll see why this penny has become an object of fascination. To understand the 1939 Lincoln wheat penny, we must go back a little further to 1909. That year marked the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and to honor him, the United States Mint introduced a brand new cent bearing his portrait. It was the first regular issue U.S. coin to feature a real person rather than symbolic figures like Liberty. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse displayed Lincoln's profile in a dignified pose, while the reverse showcased two wheat stalks framing the words, 1 cent, and United States of America. This design would become iconic, running until 1958 and creating one of the most beloved coin series in American numismatics. Fast forward to 1939. The nation was still feeling the lingering effects of the Great Depression. Franklin D. Roosevelt was president, and his New Deal programs were attempting to rebuild the American economy. Internationally, tensions in Europe were escalating as World War II loomed on the horizon. Against this backdrop, millions of Americans carried the Lincoln wheat penny in their daily lives. Though it was just a single cent, it was meaningful. Candy bars, newspapers, and bus fares often cost only a penny or two. Every household depended on these small copper coins. The Philadelphia Mint was the main producer of the no-mint mark variety in 1939. That year, it struck over 316 million wheat cents. With such a large number, one might assume that these coins are common and not particularly valuable. But numismatics is never that simple. What sets certain coins apart is not just how many were minted but how many survived in high quality, how many were preserved in uncirculated condition, and how many display unique features like doubling, striking errors, or exceptional luster. The 1939 no-mint Mark Lincoln wheat penny is a prime example of this principle. Most of the 1939 pennies were used heavily in commerce, passed along through years of transactions until they became worn, scratched, and almost unrecognizable. Finding one today in average circulated condition isn't rare. You might even stumble upon one in an old jar of coins tucked away in a drawer or attic. But finding a 1939 penny in pristine, uncirculated condition, with full detail on Lincoln's hair and beard, crisp lettering, and the wheat stalks on the reverse standing out in sharp relief, is an entirely different matter. Those coins are the ones that collectors eagerly seek. Let's talk about the design details, because collectors pay attention to the smallest elements. On the obverse, the word Liberty sits boldly to Lincoln's left, while the motto, In God We Trust, arches above his head. The date, 1939, rests cleanly on the right side. On coins that survived with minimal wear, Lincoln's cheekbone, jawline, and the subtle lines of his hair stand out with beautiful clarity. On the reverse, the wheat stalks curve gracefully around the denomination, symbolizing prosperity and nourishment, important themes during the Depression era. Above them appears the national motto, E pluribus unum, a reminder of unity. For collectors, these small artistic details matter, because they represent both craftsmanship and history. While most 1939 pennies are copper, weighing 3.11 grams and composed of 95% copper with 5% tin and zinc, some can display natural toning that makes them visually unique. Over the decades, exposure to air, moisture, and storage conditions cause some pennies to develop shades of red, red-brown, or deep brown. Collectors prize coins that still retain their original, red mint luster, a fiery copper glow that almost makes the coin look brand new. Such examples are rare, since copper oxidizes quickly. A 1939 penny with brilliant red surfaces can command significant premiums over darker, circulated examples. Now let's explore why collectors chase this coin. First, The year 1939 is notable because it sits just before America's entry into World War II, a period when metals used in coinage would soon change. In 1943, the mint would even produce steel cents due to copper shortages. Thus, a 1939 penny feels like a last chapter of pre-war coinage, representing stability before massive upheaval. Second, because most people never saved coins from this year in mint condition, higher grade survivors are much scarcer than raw mintage numbers suggest. Finally, there are small varieties and errors from 1939 that make the hunt even more exciting. Some coins display doubled dies in the lettering or date, while others have striking anomalies that give them character. Collectors and investors alike know that the value of a 1939 no-mint mark penny depends on condition. A heavily worn coin might be worth just a few cents above face value, a neat keepsake but nothing extraordinary. However, coins graded by professional services such as PCGS or NGC in high mint state grades, particularly those with the red color designation, can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The jump in value between a coin graded mint state 65 red and one graded mint state 67 red is massive, reflecting how incredibly scarce such flawless survivors are. Another fascinating element is the story of how these coins have been passed down through families. Imagine a child in 1939 receiving a brand new penny as change for a candy bar, admiring its shine, and tucking it away in a desk drawer. Decades later, that same coin could resurface in an estate collection, untouched and glowing as if it were just minted. Such stories add emotional weight to the coin's journey, connecting collectors not only to history but also to the people who lived it. It's also worth remembering that pennies from this era circulated for decades. A 1939 cent might have been spent during the Depression, carried by a soldier in the 1940s, handed over at a diner in the 1950s, and only pulled from circulation in the 1960s or later. Each coin carries invisible fingerprints of history, silent witnesses to ordinary and extraordinary lives. As the popularity of coin collecting grew in the mid-20th century, the 1939 penny became a target for hobbyists filling Whitman coin folders. Young collectors in the 1950s and 60s would search their pocket change, hoping to find wheat pennies to complete their sets. While many discovered 1940s and 1950s dates, the 1939 issue was harder to find in circulation, making it an exciting prize for those lucky enough to spot one. That sense of treasure hunting continues today, with modern collectors scouring rolls of pennies or inheriting old jars of change from relatives. The market for rare coins has only grown stronger over time. Collectors, investors, and history enthusiasts compete for the best examples. Auction houses regularly feature rare Lincoln cents, and when a stunning 1939 no-mint mark penny in pristine condition appears, bidding can be intense. The appeal lies not just in the coin's copper value but in its story, its artistry, and its connection to a pivotal moment in history. So what does this all mean for the 1939 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny today? For most people, it is a reminder that even the smallest coin in your pocket can hold remarkable value if preserved well. For collectors, it represents a beautiful piece of numismatic history, tying together the artistry of Brenner's design, the resilience of America in 1939, and the enduring fascination with Lincoln himself. And for investors, it is proof that rarity and quality can transform an ordinary cent into a significant asset. After exploring the history, design, significance, and collector demand surrounding the 1939 penny, we arrive at the part that excites everyone most: the value. While worn examples are common and modestly priced, the rarest high-grade survivors have stunned collectors and auction houses alike. In fact, the record for a 1939 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny in top condition reached an astonishing $55,873.